Good morning, Radio Free Boise. Um, Lord Doompaul coming at you with a couple more records for you. Hope you all doing well. I'm doing fine. It's snowing like crazy. Has been for the past week. More snow than we've seen since 1985. Couple more records for you, just to keep up on it. Today is David Bowie's birthday, and so I figured it would only be apropos to talk about one of his records. Um, Today we're gonna talking real quick about David Bowie and the and Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. Man, what a great record! This is the record, in my opinion, and a lot of people have opinions about things, and mine are just mine. Half the time I just make them up, and I believe them because, well, that's what we do. This is the perfect blend of David Bowie's folk period and him launching headlong into his dirty rock and roll phase, which we all know and love him so well. I'm particularly a fan of his early folk stuff, just because it's bizarre and ridiculous and inept in a lot of ways. It had such a charm about it. But with this one, you know, we're talking about he's definitely found some drugs. He's definitely found some new influences, and he's definitely got a new band together. Boy, fantastic record. I mean, just you know all the songs. There's not a lot I can say about this that you don't know, but I just wanted to tip my hat to David Bowie because I've always been such a big fan, and do it on his birthday, and yeah, I mean, just the record starts off almost folky, with a lot of similarities to like his early stuff, and even harkening back to his first record, and then by the end of side two, you're just looking at dirty glam like rock and roll, and it's just so sweet. He definitely made all the right moves, and he found all the right people to play with, and what can be said about this record that hasn't been said before, but I am there. I just said it. The special effects. Okay. The next record I'm going to talk about, for the most part, is garbage. But I got it because it had a hype sticker. Judas Priest's Turbo. Judas Priest is one of the first bands I've ever just been head over heels about. I love them. One of the first records I ever bought was not Stained Class, Sad Wings of Destiny. And from the moment I put that on, it was just an absolute treat. It floored me, and it showed me what rock / metal / whatever could be. And I just collected and collected and collected, and right about the time I was starting to really sort of get records, back in my youth, this came out. And boy, what a terrible record. I mean, there's some redeeming qualities to it. There really are. I'm hard pressed to tell you what they are. It's definitely a Priest record. It's where they were heading. It's definitely commercial pop metal. Complete lack of sort of the progginess and the intricacies of their heydays of Sin After Sin, Stained Class, and all that, and definitely taking and just, I don't know, man, like songs like Parental Guidance are just terrible. Even Turbo Lover, Out in the Cold, just terrible. And I love Priest. I love everything about them, but this record is just a meltdown, and I don't know. I got it because I had the hype sticker, and I'm a completist. Um, but I I tried to re-listen to it, and I was just like, wow, this is the '80s personified. I don't even know if it was the '80s. I think it must have been the '80s. Yeah, '86. And it's where metal was heading, and that wasn't necessarily a good thing, or at least where a lot of the sort of dinosaur bands were trying to find, where do we go from here? And Judas Priest decided to go there, and right to the suburbs, I guess. This whole record brings me back to the sort of the whole Tipper Gore and the you know it was an unfortunate thing where some kids blew their heads off or something like that because of a track on I think it was Stained Class, and I think this might have been a response to this. I don't know, like some of the songs like Parental Guidance and whatever. But I do remember those court cases where Tipper Gore was trying to get the parental guidance stickers put on everything, and yeah, I don't know, it just didn't work. I mean, it was great that Rob Halford stood up for himself, and it was unfortunate that those kids killed themselves thinking that Judas Priest was telling them to do so. But it's been a constant battle in this country to differentiate mental illness from sort of outside sources, and it doesn't. The '80s were sort of the heyday of that. I'm hoping we're not heading that way again, but All right. So anyway, that was Turbo by Judas Priest. Maybe I'll have to give that another spin in a little while, but the quick spin I gave it today just brought me back to this is not a great record. Okay, next record. A lot of people, as you all know, I'm a pretty big Jethro Tull fan, and this is the Jethro Tull record that is more maligned than anything else ever. This is Under Wraps by Jethro Tull, 84. And with this and actually the record before that, Broadsword, they brought on this keyboard player. I forget his name. What's his name? Give me a second. Here, you look at this while I look at the Peter Visette, which I guess he's a pretty well-known player, like sort of keyboard player. It's like here's the deal with Tull at this point. Ian Anderson's voice was shot. It was just shot, and anything that comes after this, you're gonna realize he just can't even sing. And if you look at anything he does now, he even has somebody else singing for him for any notes that are above the smallest of ranges, which is really unfortunate, because that was always one of the charms I found with Jethro Tull. An amazing. I thought he had a great voice. It wasn't classically great. It was just interesting, and I found it, and there was such conviction behind it, and here it's starting to, it's certainly definitely wavering. And the whole album is a concept album, sort of about the Cold War and spies and everything else, and you can never actually get into that because they're so busy pulling out every synth trick or every sort of cliche '80s like pop synth, every little trick in the book, and it just overtakes the record, and it really fights with what could have been some really good songwriting. There is some good songwriting on here. In fact, there's a lot of good songwriting on here. It's just overtaken by gimmick, which is unfortunate. I love Tull, and I'm not going to be an apologist for this record, but it's not as bad as everybody talks about. There's some really interesting ideas, and I think this is the first record that Ian had to let go of his ego and let somebody else take the reins a little bit, and that was, this is probably the first time that happened since their first or second record. When Mick Abrams, was playing guitar, and he was taking the band in a blues direction. Well, now he's picked somebody who's taken it into the sort of an '80s synth record, and it's a weird combo, man. It's a weird combo, and I don't think this is the. I don't know. If you're just starting off with listening to Tall, don't start here. But if you're a seasoned veteran of them like me, then there's going to be some fun stuff you're going to appreciate on here. But I could totally see this record being played at like a high school dance. The kind in the 80s where everybody was like doing this. Because we didn't know how to dance. Especially back in Massachusetts, we had no idea. Maybe doing some of this. Because there's some synth pop and stuff like that. Maybe some of this. So you're welcome. You're welcome for all this. And I was known as probably the best dancer in my high school, and because of moves like that. And I would definitely, shake the dice and pop the collar. Whatevs. But anyway, maybe some. Yeah, that's right. Probably not doing this to Jethro Tull, but it was probably Susie, because I was more into that. But, whatever, thug life. Alright, so, the final record is a revelation to me, and I saved it for last because it's so good. Can, Future Days. And, I don't know much about Can. It's a nice embossed cover. Embossed gold. Last Can record with their Japanese singer whose name is, hold on, Damo Suzuki. And this is definitely this is called krautrock. It's called ambient. It's called prog. It's called a bunch of stuff, and I don't really know. I'm not gonna sit and classify it. But I tell you right now, it's eye-opening. It's just a I wrote some notes down on this one because okay, so it's almost discordant. It's got a weird edge of almost a funky sound. It's almost anxiety producing. It's so out there. It's space rocky. I don't know. I don't have the correct adjectives to describe this record, but I've been listening to it over and over again, and boy, it's good. If I had more to say about the band, or if I understood the theories behind the band, I would prattle on endlessly about it. But right now, what I'm doing is that I'm enjoying it, and that's kind of what this is all about, right? So, Can, Future Days. If you're not hip to that, man, listen to it because it's fantastic. So, I guess that's all I got for you today. You got a free dance lesson from Doompaul. You're welcome. And yeah, that's all I got for you this week. See you next week sometime. I'm gonna sit and wait for the snow to stop so I can start shoveling it again, because I do enjoy shoveling the snow. I do not enjoy shoveling the snow. But I hope you're all doing well, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.